to go back to the time I was working.
Yes, ma'am.
For whom? For the preacher or for the lady?
Both.
Both.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. For the preachers that will come, the Methodist preachers that will come and stay at the Methodist parsonage for 2 years, sometimes 3 years, I would work for them by going in, emptying the trash, washing dishes, washing clothes by hand, raking leaves in the yard, and then going back home. Because they would be in Butler. And they would be at the parsonage for the number of years that he pastored at that church, at the Methodist church. After I finished working for the preacher and his wife and family, then I met this family with children, and I would nurse their children by keeping them out of trouble, and feeding the baby, changing the diapers, and whatever the mother requests, whatever she wanted me to do. She wanted me to travel with them or travel with them.
So you were you working full-time hours? How many hours were you working a week at 12 years old?
You know, they wouldn't even count that hour. I would go like sometime in the morning and stay late at night. And they wouldn't pay me by the hour.
So
They would not pay me by the hour.
And they sent all the money to your mom?
They sent no money to, and I don't know how much money they sent. But my mama knew how long and how much time I was spending with them. But whatever money that they sent, my mom was satisfied with it. That put food on the table for them.
So you didn't go to school then because you were working?
Now when I went to school, now school age, you know, school age, you know, is somewhat like 6. You know.
Okay.
That's when I was in the 1st grade. And that was a one-room school.
Okay.
And of course, after school, in the evening, that's when I would do all the work.
So how old were you when you stopped going to school?
How old was I when I stopped going to school?
When you stopped going to school, how old were you?
When I finished school.
Yes, ma'am. When you stopped going to school as a young child, how old were you?
Oh, let me see. I was in 10th grade, so I had to be about. I had to be about. No. See, it was a one-room schoolhouse.
Okay.
And so I'm trying to see how old I was. I must have been about 15.
Okay. And y'all used to be in the same room with the young kids?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was one-room schoolhouse. They had one teacher to teach everyone in that particular class.
Okay.
If we get promoted to the 2nd or 3rd grade, we'll have a 2nd and 3rd grade teacher.
Okay.
You understand what I'm talking about?
Yes, ma'am.
It's difficult to understand because we didn't have changing the room, changing the teachers. We just had one teacher. We didn't even have a principal. Just had one teacher. Her name was Miss Mott.
Was she white or black?
Mott. And Zach is trying to find some of her relatives, but that was almost impossible. Because, see, I was in 3rd grade. And see, I'm 90-some years.
Was she white or
black? Black.
Well, she was a black lady.
Mm-hmm. But she was an inspiration to me because she kept telling me that out of my family, she knew my family and knew I was the baby, and that how the others had gone off. Some had come live in Macon, you know,
So what kind of mom was your mother? Like, was she nice? Was she mean? Was she, like, doting? What kind of mother was your mother?
My mother was a kind, gentle, and they said, how could she be kind when she carried that shotgun? But my daddy started her to drinking. And when she would drink, she would be out of control. And that was when I would like to be with her. I didn't like to leave her. Because my dad would want to fight, beat her up, and fight.
How did your dad treat you?
He was, I would say he was mean because he would whip me without a reason. Because when I be trying to protect my mama, keep him from fighting her, he didn't like that. So he would try to fight me and Mama. But we would run, get under the house, wait till he go to sleep. But when he got sick, he had a stroke, we had to take care of him. That's when he couldn't drink, couldn't work, we had to just take care of him. That's when all of the beatings stopped, everything stopped, when he got sick.
How old were you when he died? Do you know how old you were when he died?
Let me see, I don't recall how old, but I was grown when he died. I was grown. I might have been in my 20s, no, 30s, maybe 20s.
So let me ask you this question. When I was talking to some of your children, they said that Ella, your mother, used to chase them out the house with her shotgun. If they were bothering her, she would get her gun and tell them to get out when they were kids. Do you think that she still was a kind, gentle woman if she was doing that to the kids, to your kids, when you would send them to stay with her during the summers that, you know, you sent them? What do you think about it?
It wasn't a kind experience because I had to go get them most of the time.
Okay.
I had to take them back. Most of the time I didn't leave them because they were afraid.
So if she was kind and gentle, why do you think she was doing that to them?
Because she was under influence,
Okay.
and usually when you're under influence, you're out of your mind. You don't know what you're doing. But I usually wouldn't leave them. I would just take them down for the weekend to see her, and then I would bring them back home. But I did let your mama and some go and stay a week. That's when they said they were just terrified. So I didn't do that anymore.
Well, what did she need a gun for in the house? They
Um,
let black women have guns back then?
Honey, her, see, the house wasn't locked, and they called people who ride those trains, call them tramps. Those tramps would get off the train and walk around and steal from the people in the neighborhood. So she had the gun for protection, so she could shoot the tramps if they came to the house.
So it was legal for black women to have guns?
Yeah. Well, women had guns to protect themselves.
So how old were you when you moved to Macon?
When I moved to Macon, I was, my sister was here first, and I was before I moved to Macon, I got pregnant with Patricia, and I left home. That's a whole different story.
How old were you when
When
you
I
got
got
pregnant?
pregnant,
How old were you?
I was 16, and I left home and went to a place called Warwick, Georgia, because I didn't want to embarrass my mama, and I was too embarrassed that I was pregnant. I didn't want my friends to see me, so got on this bus and I started riding till I got to America, Georgia. That's where Warwick, Georgia. That's a small town. And I got off the bus and sat. Now, in the meantime, I didn't know. I knew that Mama said that she had a niece who lived in Americas, and that was down by Warwick, Georgia. And that's why I was looking for this niece. And I just sat there on this bench, and this family came up, and they asked, because I was young, I was 16, asked me, "Where are you from?" I said, "Macon, Georgia." "Where are you going?" I said, "I'm coming looking for my aunt who lives here. Her name is Anna." And they said, everybody in the country know each other. They said, "We don't know anybody in this place named Anna." I said, "But you can go home with us." That was a complete stranger. Miss Perry and Mr. Perry. That was her husband, Mr. Perry. And I stayed with them. But I worked at a cafe making money so I could pay for the delivery of my baby. That was Tricia. And living with this family, I would give them money too because I was working at this restaurant. So after the baby was born, I left Americus, Georgia, Warwick, Georgia, and came back home. And that was when I was back home, and I had saved her some money. I gave it to Mama. But my sister had Pearl. That's when I took care of when she was sick. And her husband took care of him, took care of both of them. Was saying that that you, because I had a job working at she got me a job working at the candlelight, making salads, and there he was cooking. So we met each other. That's when we met.
So you just left Trisha's father in Butler, Georgia? You left your firstborn's father in Butler?
So what?
Trisha's father.
No,
When you
Trisha's
were-
father was in Butler, Georgia.
So you left him?
I left him and his other girlfriend because I was pregnant and the other girl was pregnant. And he favored the other girl because she was from a decent family. Our family was like to fight and curse and carry on. But he didn't choose me, so that's why I left town. He chose the other girl. So Trisha's other step sisters and brothers, and the stepdad, he's dead, but she did get to meet him. And but he regretted that he made the decision because after I met Daddy, we worked, and our life got better, and our home we bought homes. And matter of fact, that life in Butler wasn't like the life here in Macon, because he provided for Trisha when we didn't have any other children. Trisha was the only child we had, and he provided for her like she was his biological child. We sent her to college. She was the first one went to college. Matter of fact, she didn't get a scholarship like the rest of them, but she was popular because she was Peach Blossom on the campus. They chose her as Miss Peach Blossom and all that. But anyway, that transparent changing from Butler to Macon, that's why when my sister got where she couldn't take care of herself, I provided a place for her.
So how would you describe life when you moved to Macon? How did you meet Wilbur?
How did I
How did you meet your husband?
Oh, I would describe life as, I won't say miserable because both of us work. Well, what is the word when it's not miserable and you're not too happy? But just trying to find yourself, trying to find a place. I describe it as, because when we were working at that restaurant, we didn't have a home. But Miss Mary Mitcham, that's how we met this family. Hazel Roulette, Mary Mitcham. We met her at Lindbergh. She was a chef at Lindbergh. And that's how, when Dad started working at Lindbergh, he met her. And she told us, but at that time I was living with my sister. And she was living in the alley. And there was not, living in the alley in one room was not comfortable. But when he